Hi everyone, I'm Yael, and today in our bi-weekly edition of Nurturing Resilience, we are going to be working on a practice which I absolutely love, and it involves journaling. Today we're going to be doing writing to our dead or writing to our ancestors, and you will need I have my favorite pen and a notebook, but you can just take a moment and grab a pen and paper. I am shooting this video on October 31st, which is Halloween, and of course the next day is Dia de los Muertos. So many traditions believe that in the fall, the veil between this world and the next is lifted. Jews believe that as well. We look at it as the period between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And from a seasonal perspective, you can really see that. I loved when I learned some years ago that leaves, when they change colors, we even use that word, right? The leaves change colors. But in truth is what happens is that leaves lose chlorophyll. And so the colors that you're seeing are actually their true colors. And so I also love reflecting on the fact that maybe as we get closer to death, either our own or our loved ones, there's something really authentic or essential that emerges before this next period of letting go. I've talked in other videos about how resilience is a function of relationship. And as I myself have dived a little bit deeper into doing ancestral work, particularly during this pandemic, it seems to me that in a time of physical distancing from other living humans, to remember that we're not alone and that we have invisible sources of support is really, really important. And so I'm offering this practice to you in that context and with that intention that you should feel supported, that you should feel in relationship even with those who have passed. And of course, we've lost I don't even know what the numbers are right now. It's well over 200,000 just in the United States alone to COVID. So many of us are dealing with all kinds of losses, deaths and otherwise right now. And so I want to give you a practice that you might wind up taking on regularly. And let me be clear that when I talk about the ancestors, there's many different ways of understanding that. So you can think about your ancestors as being your biological ancestors, the people within your own family. They might be your actual line, right? Your two parents, your four grandparents, your 8 great-great-grandparents, the 16 before them, the 32 before them, the 64 before them, etc. But there also might be an aunt or great uncle that you had who was in that family line. You might be adopted, and so you can choose from either, even if you don't know them, the biological part of your family or the adopted ancestral line. They could be ancestors who you loved, or there might be there's a woman named Tanya Rubenstein, what she calls the difficult dead, who maybe have done some more work and are willing to do some work from you from the other side. I love that notion. It doesn't have to be, ancestors don't have to be your family at all. You can have kind of craft ancestors. So for example, if you're an artist, you might count Frida Kahlo or James Baldwin as part of your artistic ancestors or literary ancestors. Or you might have movement ancestors. So if you're into healing, you might love Dr. Hahnemann, who invented homeopathic medicine. Or you might want to tap into your connection to Mother Teresa or Martin Luther King Jr. Okay, so think outside of the box when we use the word ancestors. So just to begin with, I'll invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. And if it's not comfortable for you, then just kind of gaze away from the screen. Just find something maybe in your home or outside the window just to rest a soft gaze on. And let's just take together 3 deep inhales and exhales as a way of relaxing your body on this first one. The overly active mind, intellect, cognition on this second one. And your spirit, your essence on this third and final breath. And then sense in the front of your body softness. So there might be a sense of a soft belly, a soft heart, kind of allowing you to settle into a nice rhythmic pattern of breathing. Very easy, no effort, no force certainly. And with the soft front, see if you can also sense the musculature of your strong back. Often where we might have a sense of our ancestors is actually behind us, holding us up. Just like in English, we might say, I've got your back, or so-and-so has your back. We've got your back. Soft front, strong back. And whichever one of the ancestors kind of want to come and speak to you today is the right one. And you might use different ones on different days. Again, this might be someone that you knew when they were living, or you might know one thing about them. You might have seen a photo of them. You might not have seen anything. You might have dived into their writing, photography, sculpture, theology. And then whenever you're ready, you could just gently bring yourself back into the room. And I'm gonna set a timer for us. We are just gonna write together for about 5 minutes. And what I'd like to invite you to do is to write from the voice of the person who you conjured up or invited in, imagined, and what they're going to be speaking to you directly, and they will either be offering a blessing, a lesson from their own life, which is appropriate to you, or wisdom. A blessing, a lesson, or a wisdom. The only rule of this game is that you keep writing. So just keep your pen moving, and I will stop us in just about 5 minutes or so. And just a reminder that even when you're writing, you can also be breathing. You could be aware of how you're sitting, but do keep writing. Okay, and just finish up whatever it is you're working on. Whatever is the last sentence in your mouth. And of course, if you're doing this on your own, you could always pause and just take a few more minutes. And then what I want to encourage you to do is either, like, if you've stopped at the end of the paper, you could flip over and just have a new paper, or just draw a line underneath what you just wrote. Take a moment to read over what you wrote, and you can underline anything that you found interesting, surprising. There might be an image or a sentence that that stands out to you. And only because this is a video, I'm gonna just give us another 2 minutes to now write below the line. And what you are invited to do below the line is write about how you felt when you were writing, or how you felt when you were rereading what you wrote. And again, I'll just give us a couple of minutes, 2 or 3 minutes to do that. And again, sometimes actually what we write below the line is even more hard-hitting, thoughtful, deep than what we wrote in the very first part of the exercise. So if you need to pause this and take a little bit more time, I encourage you to do so. The other thing I encourage you to do sometime during the day is, for example, if you wrote about someone who you did know, you might also know a food or a drink that they loved, and you might give yourself the gift of having that in their honor, or doing something in their memory. It might be something that you knew that they did here, or something that perhaps you wrote about an ancestor that didn't have the freedom because of the time or the culture, the context in which they lived. And so you might just light a candle for them and do something that you love very, very deeply, and bring them to mind. So I hope you found this a helpful exercise. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Take care.